I used to believe that life followed a straight path: study hard, get a job, marry someone you love, and live out your days in peaceful contentment. I had most of those boxes ticked. By 29, I was managing a boutique cafe in downtown Portland, had a circle of friends who felt more like family, and was engaged to Clara, the woman I believed I'd grow old with. Everything felt certain, safe and solid. And then, like the cruelest twist of fate, it all collapsed within 3 months. It started with the fire. A faulty wire in the back office went unnoticed until it became an inferno. I remember watching the cafe burn from across the street, standing in my apron, soot streaking my face like war paint. The fire didn't just destroy the walls and espresso machines, it burned down my identity. That cafe was mine. My idea. My sanctuary. Insurance covered a fraction of the loss, but the heart of it, the part built from dreams and sleepless nights, was gone. Clara tried to hold things together. At first. But grief doesn't leave room for many people, and I unknowingly pushed her out. Every time she offered comfort, I gave her silence. When she cried for us, I was too broken to care. A month after the fire, she packed her things while I stared at the wall, numb. The last thing she said to me was, "I loved you more than the cafe, but you never noticed." I didn't stop her. I couldn't. I watched her leave with the same detached emptiness that I had watched the fire. The spiral after that was fast. I sold what was left of my equipment. Burned through my savings like a man on a mission. My days blurred together: sleep, drink, stare, repeat. The few friends who tried to intervene got the same response Clara did: a cold, vacant version of me they didn't recognize. I was rotting from the inside out. The final straw came on a Wednesday, I think. I remember because it was raining, the kind of relentless Oregon rain that soaks your bones. I had just been evicted. My landlord was kind enough to let me crash longer than the law required, but kindness has limits. I left with a single duffel bag, half a bottle of whiskey, and nowhere to go. That's when I stumbled into St. Bridget's shelter. I don't know why I walked through those doors. Pride should have stopped me. Maybe it was the warmth I saw through the windows. Maybe it was the smell of food, or the simple need to be around human voices that didn't judge me. But I walked in, dripping and hollow, and someone handed me a towel and a plate of chicken stew. "Rough day?" the woman asked, with a smile that didn't feel forced. "You could say that," I muttered. "Welcome, then. You're safe here." I didn't reply. Safe was a foreign word. That night, lying on a cot that creaked every time I breathed, I stared at the ceiling and waited for the breakdown I knew had to come. It didn't. Instead, I slept for 14 hours. It was the first dreamless sleep I'd had in months. I kept coming back. Not because things got better, but because they didn't. I had no plan. No job. No idea who I was outside of my losses. But the shelter offered structure, meals, chores, counseling if I wanted it. And slowly, without realizing it, I started piecing things back together. I kept coming back. Not because things got better, but because they didn't. I had no plan. No job. No idea who I was outside of my losses. But the shelter offered structure, meals, chores, counseling if I wanted it. And slowly, without realizing it, I started piecing things back together. Her name was Mara, one of the coordinators at St. Bridget's. She had this blunt kindness about her, like she saw straight through your crap but chose not to judge you for it. "You're not the first to lose everything," she told me one day while we were organizing a food donation. "Doesn't make it any easier." "No, it doesn't," she agreed. "But sometimes, losing everything strips you down to who you really are. And that's the part worth rebuilding." I hated how much that sentence stayed with me. I took small steps. I volunteered to help cook when I realized I missed being around food. I started talking to the other residents, learning their stories. War vets, addicts, runaways. People with pain far deeper than mine, and yet, they laughed. They found reasons to smile. If they could, maybe I could, too. Mara noticed. She offered me a part-time kitchen role. Said it wasn't much, but I could help plan meals and coordinate with suppliers. I hadn't held responsibility in nearly a year, and it scared me how much I wanted it. From there, things changed. Not overnight. Not in some magical, redemptive arc. But gradually. I found a room in a shared housing program. I applied for food handler certifications again. Reconnected with one of the old cafe regulars who ran a catering business and needed extra hands on weekends. It wasn't glamorous, but it was purpose. A year later, on the anniversary of the fire, I lit a single candle outside the shell of what used to be my cafe. It was being remodeled into a bookstore-cafe hybrid, owned by a young couple who had no idea I once poured every ounce of myself into those walls. And that was okay. Life moves forward. It has to. I still volunteer at St. Bridget's twice a week. Still work in catering. Sometimes I think about opening another cafe, but this time with the clarity that failure doesn't define you. The fire took a lot, but it revealed more. About resilience. About the kindness of strangers. About hope. You see, everyone talks about hope like it's a spark or a beam of light. But for me, it came quietly, on a paper plate, in the form of chicken stew, and the words, "You're safe here." Hope isn't loud. It doesn't scream over your pain. It waits. Patiently. Until you're ready to feel it again. And I did. So if you're reading this, at your lowest, thinking it's over, hear it from someone who's been there. It's not. There is still hope when all is lost.